Well, my word. Look what just fell out of my tree. It's a little bit windy today, but it's a beautiful sunny day. And this big old limb just fell out of my tree. It came from way up high. All the way up there. That limb broke off. Oh my goodness. We had our trees trimmed before we moved out here because I had a fear of big old limbs like this landing on the top of our trailer. And they cleared out a massive amount of limbs from these trees and even cut down 2 small trees that were near the house that I just wanted gone. But their reach could only go up to 50 feet high. This limb is taller than that. It was higher than that. And so some limbs had to stay. However, only a few are kind of in danger that maybe if they ever fell, they would hit our trailer. This one, in the right scenario, could have, because if the wind was blowing and blew it off the tree toward our trailer, it could easily have hit it. But this limb just miraculously, it's weird how it landed. It's almost just like it was placed to where it was in no danger to anything, and I appreciate it so much. I would worry about it. Yes, it's going to be a mess to clean up, but I'm not going to worry about it because I'm extremely, extremely thankful for 2 reasons specifically. Number one, it didn't hit our trailer. It didn't cause any damage. My statue's fine. No flower beds were messed up at all in it. Maybe my tomatillo's on the other side of it, but I don't even know about that. But second of all, I was push mowing all up in there yesterday because my riding mower can't go up in these little areas. I was walking around here push mowing yesterday evening. Boom. Had that fallen at a different time, it might not have been good, but it didn't. It fell today, and I'm so appreciative that it didn't do any damage. I mean, this is a tree trunk. It's like a miniature tree trunk. It's heavy and whew, goes all the way up in there with branches and didn't hurt a thing. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. A couple of weeks ago, I mentioned to y'all how I'm having trouble with peppers and things being eaten off of my plants, and I wasn't sure if it was this dog here or if it was squirrels or what it was, but the mystery is solved. It is this little guy right here. He's the smallest of our 2 dogs. They're brothers. They were born at the same time, but he's the smallest one, and he's decided to make my garden his buffet this year. I'm finally getting some more peppers growing back on this sheep-nosed pimento pepper bush because he's eating it clean. Just a few seconds ago, I was working out here. I turned around and he had his mouth around a whole pepper fixing to take another one. Yesterday, I walked out of my house, and at the end of my steps, he was eating 2 Italian heirloom tomatoes that were still hooked to the branch, which he had pulled off of my plant. I had walked out there earlier in the day, and I thought 1 was missing. I thought I had 4 in a little clump. There were only 3 there. I know now he had taken 1, but I wasn't sure until later when I saw him with 2 more of the 4 in his mouth, ripped off the branch and eating on it. And they were green. You know, they weren't near about ready to harvest, so there was nothing I could do about it. There's 1 more tomato left on that beautiful Italian heirloom plant that survived the freeze. It's a beautiful tomato, and I'm expecting to go out there anytime, and he might have ripped it off too. This has been a very frustrating spring. This is my 7th season to garden, not year, but season. The dogs, we've had them the whole time. They've never really bothered my gardens except to give me worry about whether they were gonna come over here and pee on something. So that's why I try to put a little bit of string, a little bit of border around everything, just to kind of keep them out of things. But they never were eating my stuff. And the bigger dog is still not eating my stuff that I know of. I've never caught him doing anything. It's the little one. He has decided he loves peppers. He's eating any pepper that grows, he's going for it at some point. It's so disheartening because I really wanted to grow a lot of varieties of peppers this year. And my pepper plants, some of them are doing really good and they're putting on peppers and then he comes, takes them. And man, it's disheartening. And then I started noticing the tomatoes going. He ate every Jubilee tomato that I have off of those plants. They're orange tomatoes that are supposed to make a really good juice. He ate them all. And then I noticed the Italian heirlooms were starting to go off the bush, like that happened yesterday. Those are just beautiful tomatoes he's taken. For some reason, he's not messing with them yet on all these rows along my driveway. And I hope he doesn't, because I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't have the fencing left, the metal, it's not cattle panels, but it's like rolls of metal mesh. I don't have but maybe 4 foot of that left. So I can't really go along all of these tomatoes that I have here, there, and yonder, all throughout these little beds in my yard and put something around them. I'm not gonna invest in any kind of electric fencing or anything like that. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do, but I know it's causing me a lot of problems. But right now, I'm just gonna skip that. I'm gonna move on to something else, and I'm just gonna try to get onto him when he does it and make him understand that that's not acceptable. But I feel like it might be a losing battle this year. There he is right now, and he's probably wishing I would leave so that he can come back over here and go ahead and grab these sheep-nosed pimento peppers. I'm not going anywhere. Let me tell you what I am gonna do. Everything is a work in progress. This is my corn patch. This is my Tennessee volunteer beans, which I am harvesting off of. They're not extremely prolific or anything, but they are putting off beans all the way down this row. Fought them back from the verge of death and got them producing. So I'm happy about that, not complaining. This is my black-eyed peas, which I've been harvesting off of for about a week and a half, and there's still lots of beans coming on there. Filling up the Ziploc, so can't complain. Here's the pepper bushes everywhere right here that my dog is looking at really, really close. I got to keep him out of those peppers. I want some so bad. But a couple of weeks ago, I told you that I had pulled all my strike beans out of here. My strike bush beans that I had on these 5 little rows here. They did so good, and I have just gallon Ziplocs full of them in the freezer, and it was only 30 row feet. So to me, that was a wonderful harvest. However, I had said that I was going to come in here, do some weeding, and plant cowpeas. And then I just didn't. Not because I didn't get to it. I did do the weeding. You can't really tell because you're still seeing weeds in some of the aisles. But that's okay. I don't mind the weed in the aisles. I've explained that before. I don't mind some weeds getting in the aisles. And I'm actually working on choking those out. As I weed, I actually throw them into the aisles. I throw the weeds here, and it helps to choke out any grass coming back. If you just weed it and then rake it up and go dump it somewhere, you're leaving this dirt exposed for other weeds to just come right on up. So I try to throw debris on it to keep them kind of tamped down, and that's what I'm working on. But back to my story, I thought, my next thought was, I'm not going to put cowpeas here because I thought, let me go ahead and start my Landrace dry bush beans here. I actually planted some all down this row. I planted dry bush bean seeds that I had mixed all together. I've mixed them up, and I just planted them the other day. And I'm wanting dry bush beans to grow all down this row. I'm gonna see what comes up, what does good, and pick the strongest out of them to save seeds from, because I'm trying to get my Landrace seed started for dry bush beans. So I already put them here. Some of them I saw yesterday, some of them are kind of starting to poke up, but they're not really coming up much yet. So once they start coming up, they'll just kind of flood out of the gates. Here's a couple down here that are coming up. You can see the smaller plants there. got some more down there that are coming up. So they're slowly coming up, and they'll do that all the way down this row. But, so that gives me like 40 feet of them coming down this row. And right now, I'm just gonna say that's good enough. I'd love to plant 30 more feet of them in this corn patch, because this is my real dirt over here, and I think they would actually do better there. This is that organic soil dirt, which gave me trouble with these Mountaineer beans. And the Mountaineer beans, I had got them from Hoss Tools, and nothing to do with them, but they did not recover as well in my dirt. Yes, there's beans down there, and yes, I'm getting a few beans off of them, but they did not turn the corner and do as good as the Tennessee half-runner beans did. These are Mountaineer half-runners, and they just did not recover like the Tennessee half-runners did. But this is in my organic soil, which gave me trouble with these beans. So growing my dry bush beans in it kind of makes me wonder how they're going to do. But that's where they are right now. And I think instead of planting 30 more row feet here, my next thought was I wanted to go ahead and start working on landrace corn. All the dead corn that you see right here in the front of this bed, that's coming out. I started chopping it a few minutes ago, and I'm using it in my aisles as well to choke out grass. I'm just going to put all the silage and the stalks, lay them on this grass to kind of choke out grass. I'm going to do a little more weeding right there. That's the last spot I didn't get weeded. But I'm going to chop down with my loppers at the base. I'm leaving the roots in the ground, but I'm going to chop down all this corn. Now, this is where my dilemma is, because I wanted to replace this bodacious corn, which is to the front. I have Mosby prolific corn growing there in the back that's not ready yet, and it's finally starting to tassel and show some stalks and looking pretty good. So this corn's gonna stay, but the bodacious that's up here is what I'm cutting down. And I'm in a dilemma because I want to make the right decision, but yet I've got a couple of ideas that are both pretty good. My first idea was replace this bodacious section with mixed seeds for field corn. I always grow sweet corn, always. I've never actually grown a field corn. But I thought just this once, I would like to try some field corn. I have a lot of Hickory King, I have a lot of Trucker's corn, I have a lot of different kinds I think would be field corns. I've got it all on my spreadsheet. I'll go check my spreadsheet before I give any specific varieties of corn names that I'm going to use, because I want to make sure they're field corn. But I was thinking, mix some field corn seeds and replace this bodacious corn with a mixture of field corn seeds. That's how you start your landrace gardening. That's how it starts. You have to plant some different things, some different varieties of the same type of plant. And you don't want to mix up sweet corns with field corns. You would take different varieties, say, of field corn at this point. If I was just starting my season, wanting some corn to harvest, to cook with and all, I would plant different varieties of the sweet corn. But right now, I'm thinking field corn. However, I had another thought. Watermelons. I know that I could have already planted melons this year, and I didn't. The only ones I planted were some sugar baby melons in another bed over there, and they took a while to get started, but I noticed today they're starting to vine off. So hopefully, you know, they'll come around and give me some little sugar baby watermelons. But back to my landrace gardening, because if you're going to do it, you have to just do it. I could walk out here right now and decide to plant one variety, but I might mix that as well. And what I'm thinking is I might do both. I might go ahead and plant the corn and then plant melons throughout here. And I chose a few varieties to mix up and to put out here. You're probably thinking, well, do it. It's not that big a deal, but I've got to think about how quick the corn is going to get high enough to where the melons don't choke it out or anything like that. So I don't want to plant all this corn and then lose it to melons that just overtake it. And also, you have to think about cultivation. Your corn will need some fertilization. However, you're really not supposed to have to do all that with Landrace things. However, I'm not there yet with Landrace seeds. I'm just starting with my regular seeds that aren't adapted yet, that haven't cross-pollinated, that don't have that big, strong genetic bank in their seeds. So I'm starting with my regular seeds. I might have to heal them up a little bit. I might have to fertilize a little bit just to get them going so that I'll have a crop. On the other hand, the whole point of Landrace seeds is to let some of them die. So what did I do whenever this dilemma just was confusing me yesterday? What did I do? Well, I went back to the Landrace Gardening channel. I went back to the channel and I listened to the very first video that I ever listened to on that channel, which actually was suggested by David the Good. And the young lady was talking about the seeds and how they become genetically diverse and everything. But one thing she said in there, which has made me decide to just go forward with what I'm talking about, with planting the corn, planting some melons all throughout this. I might even go ahead and plant the melons all in the back as well around the Mosby Prolific, because it's done. I'm not hilling it up anymore. I'm not fertilizing it anymore. It's pretty much, it's gonna do what it's gonna do. So I don't mind if melons are growing around it. So what made me decide to just go forward with my plans was something she said. And she said that when you're doing Landrace gardening, when you're throwing a variety of seeds out there, be prepared to lose half your crop. Be prepared, because you're not babying them. You're not babying them. You're putting them out there and you're seeing which one is the strongest. So you see, you have to kind of fight your own urges to say, well, let me help these get started and then I'll pick the strongest ones out of that. That's my urge. That's my thought. That's my whole thought process with gardening is, when I plant these watermelons and this corn, I have to go in and cultivate, and I have to go in and fertilize and blah, blah, blah. And so I don't know if it's going to work with watermelons and corn because I have to do that. But I need to quit that. I need to quit that way of thinking. If I'm going to do Landrace gardening at all, I have to quit that way of thinking. Plant the corn, plant the watermelons. See what happens. I realize that not everybody can do this right now. You might could do it in your own little private garden, but if you're a market gardener, or if you have contracts with people for CSAs, or to produce so much that people are expecting upon delivery 1 day a week, or there's a lot of reasons you might not want to jump into Landrace gardening. But for me, even though, yes, I do have a gardening business, and yes, last year I did do everything and make every decision as far as sales. I needed to make sales, I needed to have customers, and on and on. This year, I had thought about trying to do something, even if I set up a little booth at the end of my driveway to sell, because actually there's someone down the road that does that from me. And so I assume they have customers and everything, and I assume it goes okay. And I have my occupational license to do a business, and my license is based here at my home. I could do that at the end of my driveway. But as we just kind of were getting settled in, and I had so many projects, and I've been busy shooting my screen doors out with rocks and busting my glass and all that stuff. I've kept myself busy with my own self-inflicted projects. I just decided, no, slow down. You haven't even been on your property 6 months yet. Get your gardens growing. Do for you right now. And I've been enjoying saving the food that I've been producing for us. And I have been extremely enjoying giving people things when they come over. I have sent friends home with green beans. I've sent friends home with cherry tomatoes. I've sent friends with cucumbers. I've given our neighbor cucumbers. And I'm enjoying doing that. And that's given me a lot of pleasure and peace. So I'm not worried right now about market gardening. However, in the future, my brain has to go ahead and think years ahead of time. if I can go ahead while I have this grace time, this year of grace, this year and a half or so of grace that I can just maybe take for myself and not put that pressure on me to have to do gardening to make money. If I could take this little time and go ahead and go forward with my heart, which is telling me it wants to try Landrace Gardening, and go ahead with that, next year I'll be gathering seeds that have been promiscuously cross-pollinated. I will be gathering seeds from these things that have grown together and still look like individuals, but yet by the work of the bees, by the work of nature and how God has it all set up, the seeds themselves that come from those fruit, if I get any watermelons and crack it open, those seeds that I'll be harvesting, they will have already had year one under their belt of growing together with other seeds and starting to build that genetic diversity that they need for the long haul. The next year, you do it again. That second year, you might have some melons that are starting to kind of take on features of each other, but they might still pretty much look like what they were. But that third year, you'll start to see your own varieties coming to fruition. And when you save seeds from those after that third year, when you tell yourself that this third year I'm saving for taste, I'm saving because this melon has a rich red color, whereas this melon looks washed out. This melon has a rich red color. This melon is hardy with a good rind. This melon had good staying power. And when you save those seeds for that third year, you have got some genetically diverse, strong seeds that have been cross-pollinated with each other, and that by that third year are locally adapted to your property. That is fantastic. So by that third year, I could be planting things that just go crazy up here. And the time I took to invest, not monetarily, but just invest time-wise in learning Landrace Gardening and in letting these things grow and in saving these seeds and in evaluating and selecting for taste, the time that I took to do that might end up paying off more in the long run by having more to sell, more than I could have ever grown just doing it the way I had always done it. Take, for instance, David the Good. He did a video today. I'll link it at the bottom because everybody loves links, but you can find it. Go to his channel, look at the video he put out today about saving cucumber seeds. He is now offering, his daughter sells on an Etsy store, their Landrace cucumber seeds. They got 165 pounds of cucumbers off of their plants this year. Never before have they had that kind of success with growing cucumbers. But now they feel like they have kind of arrived at a particular vegetable that they have done the Landrace method with, and it is thriving. 165 pounds of cucumbers off of their plants. That is phenomenal. His son has been working the last few years on watermelon, Landrace watermelons, and I think they're fixing to start offering seeds for those. Now, he lives in Lower Alabama, so those seeds are more for his area, but you can do the same thing wherever you live. And if you do buy their Landrace seeds for the cucumbers or the watermelons that they have grown over these last few years, you're going to be getting a really good seed. And it might do fine at your house. I think because I live in South Louisiana, he lives in South Alabama, I think his seeds would do great here. But instead of buying and doing all that, I'm just going to try to get my own started because I have that time. I have that year of grace, that time that I can invest to do this myself. So this evening, I'm going to chop down all of this corn. I'm going to put it in the rows, and then I'm going to come back and go in my house tonight and get my seeds together. I'll have to let you know later what corn I've selected to put together because I haven't picked that out yet, but I have picked out the watermelon seeds that I'm going to put all throughout this whole corn patch, except for the sides where I have other things growing. But all throughout the middle, I'm gonna mix together Congo watermelon seeds, Charleston Gray watermelon seeds, and Jubilee watermelon seeds. I'm just gonna start with 3. I'm not mixing every watermelon seed that I have in my bag right now. I'm just gonna start with those 3. They're all fairly large, striped watermelons, and I'm just gonna try those 3 right now. But I can't wait. I just wanna see, first of all, if they'll grow at all this year. It's already very, very hot, but I think over here with this dappled shade from this tree that even though it's very, very hot, I feel like they'll grow. And they'll be growing in my dirt. It's not the organic soil, so I'm hoping that helps a little bit. And I just feel like it's not too late to plant watermelons, so why not? Why not try? If you don't try, you're never gonna get anywhere. So I'm gonna try. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm kind of jumping in with both feet. I'm doing my research. If I get discouraged, if I start wondering, am I crazy? I'm going back and I'm re-listening to those things that really hit me in the heart to begin with. And I feel like, no, I'm not crazy. I feel like what I'm trying to do, my long goal, is to come up with seeds that are so strong that when times might get really, really tough, I'll be able to grow more than you can imagine with these strong seeds. And I'll be able to help out my neighbors, my family, and my friends. I think if there's an overarching theme that you could like wind a thread through with some of my videos, it's that I am concerned about food availability, food security, and growing to help out the people I love. I don't think I've made any secret of that. Selling food and making money is secondary to me. My main goal is to make sure I have something. I have it and I can share it. And I think the Landrace Gardening for me is going to allow me to get there. And I'm gonna try it. Why not? I showed you the other day where I had harvested some lima beans and how beautiful they were. My grandson spent the night with me Saturday night, and we came out here Sunday and I let him help me harvest. And then I wanted him to see the lima beans. He was ready to go do something else after we harvested. He had a good time, but he thought that was it, and he was ready to go do something else. And I said, no, let's go sit over here outside at this table, and I want you to open these because I want you to see them. I want you to see the colors and everything. And I know that he'll never forget sitting there shelling those lima beans. He'll never forget it. And he was so cute and so sweet. And I just want you to kind of listen to his voice. And that's gardening. That's what it's all about. Get your kids involved, get your grandkids involved, get your neighbors involved and your friends involved. Just talk about it. And when you're excited, they'll be excited. When you're growing good things, they'll want to grow good things. This is Lainey from Hilltop Home Place. Enjoy the ending with my little grandson. I appreciate you all, and I thank you so much for watching me. Bye-bye.
Mama beans, see?
Okay, those are white. And what color are those?
Red.
Red. Okay, what else you got? Here, I'll put some here for you if you want to open those.
Pink.
Pink, look at them.
They're so beautiful.
They are beautiful. I just love them because they're all different colors.
I love them too.
These are called colored willow leaf lima beans.
Oh,
What is it?
purple mama beans.
Purple lima beans?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, what else you got in that one?
More white ones.
More white ones.
Yes.
Is the white ones kind of boring?
Yes, they are. So let's put these
What
white.
color do you really want them to be?
Orange.
Orange. I'm not sure if we're gonna get orange, but we can try. There you go. They're not completely white. They have little bits of spots on them, don't they?
Yes, they have a little big pink of them.
Little bitty spots on them.
Yes.
Those are kind of stripy purple. They're kind of stripy.
Yeah.
Let's look at those. They're not spotty. They're stripy, like a tiger.
A tiger?
Yeah.
Like black stripes?
Well, no, they're purple stripes, but they're striped like a tiger. Uh-oh, another lima bean overboard.